And now it begins.
Now it ends.
What is up, guys? This is Mercedes coming to you from the Awesome News Network, and I'm going to do a review for the Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 3, titled Oathbreaker. Now, this review will have some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode, go watch it and then come back later. Alright, so here we go. First, Jon Snow doesn't seem to be reacting well to being brought back from the dead. Sam proves that no matter how many cool things he does, he's still a wimp. Bran sees his father's legendary fight with Sir Arthur Dayne and realizes that his noble father has lied to everyone. Daenerys once again has her hubris checked and learns that her fate lies in the hands of the Dothraki rulers. Varys learns who is funding the Sons of Harpy. Tyrion fails to teach Grey Worm and Missandei the art of casual discussion. And they decide to invite the leaders behind the rebellion over for a chat. Qyburn reveals that Varys' little birds are actually a group of children that he feeds for information. Jaime and Cersei try to make a power move to the High Council, only to fail when no one decides to hear them out. Not faring much better than his parents, Tommen confronts the High Sparrow on his mother's behalf, only to be talked down with little to no effort. And I'm seriously starting to believe that this kid is only alive because someone would feel bad ending the life of someone so incompetent. After a training montage, Arya finally ones up Waif, which prompts Jaqen to give her back her eyesight. In an attempt to get assistance from House Bolton with the wildlings Jon let pass the wall without pledging his bannermen, Lord Smalljon Umber gives Riken to Ramsay as a gift. And finally, in true Stark manner, Jon personally executes his murderers before stepping down as Lord Commander and leaving the Night's Watch. Alright, so I actually like this episode. It wasn't as exciting as the previous episodes, but it is around that time where we're going to start actually breaking down story to set up the next part. Jon's reaction of being resurrected made sense. You know, he's like, I shouldn't be here. How did this happen? Why am I back? Melisandre was like, what did you see? What did you see? I think she's still struggling with her relief and like was hoping that Jon would have had a message for her from the God of Light. And then Davos was just like, okay, Melisandre, chill. Let me talk to Jon. He's obviously, processing being brought back from the dead, which would make sense. So he essentially just talked to Jon and was like, just keep going. Like, don't let this stop you. Keep being the man that you've always been. Though I'm not sure if what Jon does later in the episode is what Davos was thinking about. But hey, at least he got the ball rolling, because I could imagine Jon would have just sat in his room forever. Well, not forever, but just sat in his room trying to figure out exactly what his next step should be. And up next is what I believe will be the big moment for this season, at least pertaining to one of the most agreed upon fan theories of the Game of Thrones universe, which of course is R plus L equals J. If you don't know, there's a large group of fans that believe that Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark had a child, and right when Lyanna was about to die, that's when Ned shows up and she makes him promise to protect Jon from Robert, because Robert is, of course, killing all Targaryens, so he has no one to fight him for the throne. So, of course, in this episode, we see the battle between Ned Stark and Sir Arthur Dayne, which is supposed to be like his claim to fame. Like that's what people know him as. He's the guy who killed one of the best swordsmen in the land, only to discover that he actually didn't. That his friend Reed stabbed the guy in the back, which allowed Ned to cut his throat. And of course, these are honorable men, so they can't be like, yeah, we killed him by stabbing him in the back. So that leads to a whole lot of things, and then you see the tower behind, we hear a woman scream, so that's like, oh yay, it's Jon's mom. At least that's what I'm hoping it is. And of course the scene ended before we actually got to see that part, and I'm not sure like how long it's going to be before we go back to it. It's just I was so upset. I understood why they did it, story. You don't want to just put all your cards out there and have nothing else to talk about, but I really wish that they had let that scene play out just a little bit further, so at least we could like see her on the bed, or I'm being greedy, but yeah, I like that scene. The choreography for the fight was amazing. But by this point, we know that they have no problems with making fight scenes look great. I'm also loving this season's focus on having who we've always perceived as being the strong and powerful characters, be put in their place. Between the Lannister children realizing that without their father, they have no actual power anymore, and then Dany realizing that without a strong husband or her dragons, she's just a girl with delusions of grandeur. It's kind of interesting watching this, and I can only hope that instead of them dying because they pissed off the wrong person without anyone strong enough to protect them, they actually become stronger because of it. More Dany than the Lannisters. I particularly am waiting for Cersei's death, but yeah, I've quite enjoyed the segment of the story. Am I the only one who found the fact that Varys' little birds are actually children that he takes in and feeds creepy? I mean, I know I'm not going to do the whole he's a eunuch, so he obviously molests children thing. But it's still a little weird. And also, I truly loved the look on Waif's face when Arya blocked her final hit, and then she saw Jaqen behind, yes, I think you're done with her. She's mine now. I somehow that girl says so little, but I can't stand her, and I just love the fact that it looks like she's finally, going to be kicked to the curb so that Arya can become the main focus of that storyline. Finally, because it does feel like that little part of the story is dragging just a little bit, especially with all the notes from everyone else's story, just hitting, and then Arya's just I'm blind some more. I'm a beggar getting beat up by a mean person, and now I'm a blind person who can keep my own. She has her eyes back. Hopefully now that her story arc is going to become a little bit more interesting. Other than that, everything else that happened was pretty predictable. From the trailer, I figured that the gift that the guy was going to give Ramsay was going to be Riken, because we haven't seen him in a while, and it was actually cool seeing him again. He's grown a lot. He seems a little wild, which would make sense. He's been with Osha this whole time. And then other than that, Jon's whole thing of stepping down as Lord Commander made sense, because he's all for honor and all that stuff, but his oath essentially died with him, and obviously he tried to do the right thing by the Night's Watch and ends up getting stabbed for it. So he's I'm just gonna move on with my life, and the next step should be fun. I only hope that one of his stops along the way is going to be Winterfell to save his half brother from whatever crazy things Ramsay's going to do to him, and hopefully getting some sort of control of the North and start preparing people for the White Walkers that are coming, because we still haven't seen them, and that's only slightly concerning. Well, that's it for me. What did you guys think of this episode, and what do you think's coming next? Will Sansa and Brianna make it to Castle Blackfyre, and the fact that Jon's no longer there, will they be turned away? Or will Jon be there and he's like, oh, I'm just about to leave, so they decide to go off somewhere together? Will they be heading back to the Eyrie and run into Littlefinger for help? What of the Greyjoy children? Their reunion doesn't seem to be pleasant at all. And then, of course, what's probably going to be the big moment for next episode will be Olenna Tyrell meeting up with Cersei and Jaime about Marjorie's upcoming confession to the High Sparrow. Because, they all kind of have a chip in making sure that all of their sins aren't revealed, especially since the Sparrows have. Let's discuss in the comment section below. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Also, don't forget to check out the Awesome News Network's Facebook page for a one-stop shop for news on movies, television, video games, comics, and anime. Until next time, guys.